ha ha. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan. Too sexy for Milan, New York, and Japan. Stealth should be singing this song. And I'm too sexy for your body. Too sexy for your body. The way I'm disco dancing. I'm a model, you know what I mean? And I do my little turn on the catwalk. Yeah, on the catwalk. On the catwalk. Yeah, I do my little turn on the catwalk. Sexy for my car, so sexy for my car, too sexy by far. And I'm too sexy for my hat, too sexy for my hat. What do you think about that? Oh, I'm a model, you know what I mean? And I do my little turn on the catwalk. Yeah, on the catwalk, on the catwalk. Yeah, I shake my little tush on the catwalk. Exciting! I'm too sexy for my, too sexy for my, too sexy for my. I'm a model, you know what I mean? And I do my little turn on the catwalk. Yeah, on the catwalk, on the catwalk. Yeah, I shake my little push on the catwalk. I'm too sexy for my cat, too sexy for my cat, poor pussy cat. And I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me. And I'm too sexy for this song, of course. Yeah, well that was painless.
Door-to-door doomsday ends next week. Luigi checks the math, goes that's pretty weak. Gummi claws charts from tulips to crypto. Same curve, new curve, same folks get ripped though. Pat drops a punchline, call that fate or fraud. Crowd shouts back, either way it's on. Skeptical robot, roast him on sight. Point at the circus and flip on the lights. Laugh at the bullshit louder each night. They've been selling magic beans since forever. Snake or snakes or can't reach together. Free and I'm buying, we're just dying of laughter. Ha ha ha.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? Mr.
What's
Pat
up, my
Dixon
peoples?
is running just a little bit late. He is actually on this little piggy right now. How'd you guys like that intro? Would you believe there wasn't really even much added to that other than the visual image? All the singing, that's real. That really happened, folks. Really happened. But yes, please, everyone, thank Gummi Chainsaw for the amazing visuals. He actually had to type in, please fill out the bulge in the underwear into an AI prompt.
Yes.
I kept telling the AI with the guy in the white tighty whities, I'm like, make his dick bigger. And it was like, I can't do that. I'm like, make his penis bigger. Can't do that. So I had it finally figured out. I was like, fill out the underwear more. And it was like, be right there in 5 seconds. Just had to like word it.
Was it the first time that you wrote that prompt into an AI image generator, fill out the underwear bulge more?
Today or
no joke. One time I was doing an AI prompt. This creeped me out. I was trying to make that image, you know, that Guinness Book of World Records image of the guy who has like 1,000 cigarettes in his mouth.
yes.
I tried to make an image like that, but of Bob Levy as a vampire. And it only put like maybe like a dozen cigarettes. And I was like, no, it needs more cigarettes. And I got a response from the AI that said, that is not very healthy for the vampire. And I was like, what? I saved the message, like the actual visual image of the message, and showed it to people because it creeped me out. It was like Hal from 2001. And hold on, there's a very special person backstage. Let me get him set up.
Hope everybody's enjoying their Friday while Luigi's getting that ready. That video, believe it or not, took so long to do because he had really terrible green screen and the karaoke text. It took so many layers to do that damn thing. Like I said in the chat to Luigi, I put an embarrassing amount of effort into that video.
Into making the bulge bigger.
Yes. Well, I mean, you got to have fun while you work.
Some would say you have too much fun.
There's no such thing.
All
That's
right.
one thing I learned. There's never too much fun. There's never too much filled boxers.
Yes. Let's see.
Did I just get booted?
All right. Some goofy just happened. The internet went out.
Okay, yeah, I thought I got booted. I was like, it hasn't started storming yet.
Yeah. How's it going, Mr. Pat Dixon?
Am I here?
Hey,
Is it a show yet?
It is a show. Hopefully you got to take a little peek at the intro. If not, you missed out. Did you know that Karmic sang, what's the name of the song?
I'm Too Sexy by Right
I'm
Said
Too
Fred.
Sexy by Right Said Fred.
Oh, yeah.
From
Appropriate.
beginning to end. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know he did
Yes.
that. I saw that Rudy Vega posted him singing Africa, though. It was
He also
great.
did Super Freak.
He also did Super Freak. Yes.
Hey, man,
And,
look, I cannot fault anybody for their singing, you know. I mean, like, glass houses and all, but it was pretty lousy.
It was. But hold on. If you didn't get to check this out, I feel like we just have to show it to you.
Oh, it's going to be very tedious for the people that already saw it, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is,
Knowing
actually.
our chat, I'm sure they're okay with watching it
I
again.
do not think it is.
You're not going to put it behind a lever or something, or a button, or a switch.
You're not going to believe this? That conversation did happen.
I believe it.
Yeah, here, let me show this real quick.
I see somebody
Hey,
saying
Jim.
in the chat, "Nice bulge." So
Okay, so gotta do all my layers. How you doing tonight, Pat? How's it going?
I'm okay. Do you hear my thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll stop. Hey, that's my thing.
That's your thing. And here we go.
Yeah, let me see that bulge.
You definitely will. You can't miss it.
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I feel like you're going to get the feel of it.
Wow, this looks like it took a long time to make.
but Gummi enjoyed every second of it. Would you believe it?
What can I say? My job has its perks.
I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my...
All right, I'm not going to make everybody go through the whole thing.
Oh,
but-
I'm happy with shit. Shit.
Well, you should hear how he says Japan.
shirt
Hold on.
so sexy it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan. Too sexy for Milan, New York, and Japan.
This is great stuff. Japan.
Japan.
That's great stuff, man. It's good to see him not taking everything so seriously and having a good time. I love it.
Yeah.
I think at the end he's like, "That was painless."
Yeah, at the end of it, he goes, "All right, well, that was painless." Okay, so
That's
thank
like
you
someone
so much.
stabbing you and then going like, "Oh, that was painless."
That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
For me, it's not bad at all. I mean,
We have one super tip here ready to go from Dirnbag. Thank you so much,
I'm
Dirnbag.
too sexy for my love. Too sexy for my love. Love's gonna leave me. I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts.
Billy Mays here for books. Have you read books? Then you should read the works of Quan Mills. Mills' titles include This Nika Got a Small Dick, This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib, and my favorite, Pregnant by My Mother's Gay Husband. These are real titles of real books available on Amazon.
Books and pieces of books and pieces.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Dirnbag. And you know I'm going to look those up. Mannequin 2025. Why can't Crimex just embrace his true self? We've all been trying to figure that out.
I don't know, Mannequin.
people are
Get on the
always
case.
telling him, "Yeah, go embrace yourself."
Thank you so much. And oh my goodness, we have another super tip here from Miss Donna G. Happy Friday. Enjoying this weekend as I am back to work on Monday. Keep me laughing, boys. You got it, Miss Donna G.
You got it, Donna.
We are
Love
wishing
ya.
you a speedy recovery. Thank you so much. Thoughts and prayers with you. All right. Now, thank you so much, folks. Could you please hit the like button. Check us out on Supertips, supertips.gg/skepticalrobot, and think about becoming a member if you're not already. Thank you so much for being here, and we are going to pick up where we left off regarding the Lindbergh kidnapping. Now, Pat, if you don't mind, please summarize Lindbergh kidnapping and go.
Well, Charles Lindbergh, the most famous man in the world, probably 1932, except for one guy in Germany, maybe. But he was very, very popular. And
We're not allowed to say his name.
He was a
Yes.
fan of that guy too. Actually,
He was
He
a
was
fan.
into eugenics, but people didn't really know or care about that quite as much then. Then I'll tell you what happened. He had a kid with this other pilot. The reason he was so well known, of course, for first solo flight across the Atlantic. It was once they said it couldn't be done. He did it in the Spirit of St. Louis, a plane that it was so hard. If he took his hands off the controls for even a few seconds, the thing would plummet. I mean, it was all weighted poorly and everything. I mean, these are details you don't necessarily need. Anyway,
It was essentially a soda can with a jet engine. Yeah.
it was a miraculous and very brave thing that he did. I don't know about miraculous, very brave, courageous thing that he did. So anyway, his kid, when he had one, in addition to his other families that he had stowed around the world, he had a kid with this other aviator who happened to be very rich. I forget her name, but and this kid was a bit of a waterhead, some say. And
Some might say.
it was a toddler by the time it was kidnapped, but it was kidnapped, and then they find the body. It's murdered. Well, they find a suspect, Bruno Hauptmann. He's a carpenter. Some plank in his attic matches the ladder that he supposedly built, and he had these gold certificates, which that's what the what do you call it when you take somebody hostage? You get
Ransom.
a ransom, and the serial numbers matched. And I don't know if we've gotten to the execution yet, but they execute him on circumstantial evidence, purely circumstantial. Bruno Hauptmann.
Good night,
And I
everybody.
think that's where we're at.
That's it. That's
Good
the whole
night.
story. Good night. Wow, I'm really surprised you got all that. I probably would have not even made it halfway through all that because there's so much. There's so much. Now, what we're going to do tonight actually is exactly how Pat recapped what we've gone over. We're now going to recap everything, but give it more detail with all of the things that aren't necessarily part of the traditional part of the story. Uh-oh. I think Gummi's having some internet issues. And we're going to talk about some of the theories into a lot of the reported facts. Now, I want to say again, and we really I felt like we did a very good effort of saying this in the first episode, which was every single thing that we're going to talk about is disputed.
It's all up in the air.
Yeah, there are no solid facts to this case.
Hardly any.
Yes, and everything that we say that is how the story was recorded or reported or filed in a police report, there is evidence to suggest that it's true. There's also evidence to suggest that it's entirely false.
Now, we should be careful in saying that because, like, he did have the money, he did have the gold certificates. The baby,
Okay.
I mean, the toddler was, stolen. They found the body. It's dead. But, aside from just the very bare, though, facts of it, and the case gets really cloudy.
Yes. And what I would like to do tonight is really make a point of those disputed. I don't want to. It's funny because I default to wanting to call them facts, but that's not the case. Disputed, reported elements of the story.
Yeah.
Is that a good way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pieces of information, sentences constructed out of words.
I want to make a good effort to say, here's the timeline, here's the circumstances, here are the events, but here are the things that kind of fork in the road.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to watch a real quick video that is a recap of the things that we went over last week.
I just did that. Why did I do that?
This one is going to go into just a little bit more detail. But yes, you did a fantastic job.
I mean, come on.
Let's see. Oh,
Let's just watch Set Too Sexy for Japan.
You know what? Why don't we just put it on a loop and watch it for like 6 hours until
it
YouTube
would
kicks
get
us
great
off.
views, It would get great
It
views.
really would. It really would. You know what? Regardless of what we do here, I should still make a video that is just a loop of that and just put it on my channel. Like 6 straight hours of him singing.
Start a new channel, the 24-hour Karmic channel, and just edits like that,
Why
just
not?
going and going and going.
That's really
No levers, no buttons necessary.
That's really not a bad idea. I gotta tell you.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not joking. I mean, I recognize it.
Folks, put a 1 in the chat if you want to see 12 straight hours of Karmic karaoke.
How about this? If you'd like to just have it available.
Yeah, there you go. Just have it available.
You don't have to watch all 12 hours.
Okay, so here we go. Now, like last week, we have a minimal amount of video. We're going to really be doing a lot of discussion, but I did find a couple of clips that I think explain certain parts of the story better than I could explain them.
Okay,
So,
we should watch them.
yes. Oh, yeah.
It was called the crime of the century. In 1932, the infant son of Charles Lindbergh, the man who made aviation history, was kidnapped and murdered. After more than 2 years, police arrested an illegal German
Hey,
immigrant.
there he is.
Sorry, my PC completely froze. I had to restart it. I had to
Oh, okay.
do like a full hard reset on it.
No, all good, man. But you did miss something very vital. Pat and I came up with a great idea. We're going to make 12-hour-long loops of karmic singing. Yep.
Not just singing. Does that have to be singing?
Oh, I guess it doesn't. I
And
guess
then
you're right.
I'll take it and make it into a Crimex button.
Exactly. I'm surprised. Hold on. How far are we? We're 25 minutes into the show. Not one request.
Came to trial for the kidnapping and murder of the Lindbergh
Can we show Pat the
they'll
picture?
come-
I did a shared
they'll
media. Oops,
They'll
sorry.
come now. They'll come
Yeah,
now.
I know. But it's kind of a record. It might be losing its steam. But yes, Pat,
There you
if you haven't seen this, we cut some clips of last week's episode, and Gummi made some thumbnails, and this was one of the thumbnails.
Ah.
Can you see the feet? The feet at the bottom here?
Oh. Wait, let me blow this up too. Oh my goodness.
I laughed immediately when he sent it to me. It's great.
Kid fell.
Hauptmann was found guilty and executed. But was the wrong man put to death for the crime?
It all began.
Okay, that was it. That was just basically just saying the summary, and you did a better job. All right, we do have our first lever request. Thank you very much. One pun, and here we go. It is already set.
All right, let's do this.
Gummi chainsaw! Give Leo a raise already! God damn!
Thank you very much.
God damn it,
Leo deserves a raise.
You like the shout out, don't you, Gummi? That feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's more of the context behind it. Is that Leo is a character that I gave lore. He's like a character in one of the games that I'm doing on my channel, and he just stands there. But I've given him full lore to the fact that he has fans now, and Jay sent it as like a super chat to him, so he shouted out like an NPC that's like nobody. Which
I think Jay Wolfenstein.
Julie said it too.
I think
Yeah,
Jay
it was
Wolfenstein said, "Thank you, Jay Wolfenstein."
Yeah.
And here on a chilly, rainy evening in 1932, Charles Lindbergh and his wife, Ann Morrow Lindbergh, had chosen this rather remote site in the Sourland Mountains near Hopewell, New Jersey, for their new
Fuck
home.
you, Dookie sock account.
Now, this is already an important part of the story. And you might know a little bit about this, Pat, is that this is a 380-acre estate that is secluded in the middle of nowhere in Hopewell, New Jersey. And that is a big part of where the disputed facts of this case come into effect. What are we? Disputed reported events of this case come into effect.
Highfields. They chose such a secluded location to try to get some privacy. They were spending only weekends at their new home and returning to Mrs. Lindbergh's parents' estate in Englewood on Monday mornings. But that Monday, the baby...
Now, why is that important, Pat?
They weren't always there.
Because
it was unusual for them to be there.
On a Tuesday, when the kidnapping occurred, they would always leave by Monday. This one particular time, they stay because that big head had a cold, and no one would have suspected them to be there.
How would the kidnapper
night.
know that? Yeah, without an inside source.
Yes.
He had a cold, so they telephoned to say they would not be returning to Englewood.
But then again, how would they know that the fucking anything about their schedule? I mean, it's not like they promoted it.
That's true.
Maybe just assume they were always there.
I think it does kind of lend itself to the inside job theory, and we're going to find a little bit more extra supporting evidence for the inside job theory.
I'm just playing devil's shithead.
Tuesday morning, they telephoned to have the nursemaid, Betty Gow, brought to Hopewell to help care for the sick child.
All right. Now, that is an important name that we really need to keep in mind because it's going to play an important part as we go. They called someone named Betty Gow, who was Ann's parents' maid in their home in Englewood, New Jersey. And
because the child had a cold, the nursemaid made him an extra homemade nightshirt out of flannel and sewed it with a distinctive blue thread. On top, she put a sleeping suit.
Boy, were women ever better back then? Just like, kid's got a cold, let me whip up a garment.
I know. And then also, I did have to say that clothes look very uncomfortable. Clothes from that period seem very uncomfortable. They're all made out of wool.
She put the baby to bed about 7:30 p.m. and checked on him again at 8 p.m. Colonel Lindbergh came home and went to the living room, where he heard a sound like a wooden box dropping, but thought nothing of it.
So after the fact, after everything goes on and the police arrive and they investigate this, Charles Lindbergh says at some point that he believes he heard what sounded like a wooden box dropping.
He thought it was some shit in the kitchen, so he just ignored it.
And he just ignored it. It wasn't anything that he needed to think about, but he claims that's what he heard.
At 10 p.m., when the nursemaid went to check on the baby, he was not there. She checked with both parents, and it was then that Colonel Lindbergh realized someone had stolen his son. By midnight, the grounds were swarming with state troopers and reporters. New York City police were stationed at the Holland Tunnel, George Washington Bridge, and ferry terminals to search cars and check license plates. Hauptmann's license was not recorded. The initial work of state troopers investigating the case has come under intense criticism over the years. The state police have always maintained that no casts were made of footprints found by the latter.
All right. So now they needed a Ring camera. Yes. So this is where the story starts to get really, really fascinating if you have an inquisitive mind. So let's start from what we've learned so far, which is Betty Gow puts Charlie to bed at roughly 7:30 p.m. in the second floor nursery. The nursery had 3 sets of windows, and it was a windy night, but for some reason, 2 sets of the shutters were latched, but one of the sets of shutters was warped and couldn't be latched. So Charles arrives somewhere around 8:25 p.m. that night, and he and Anne have dinner. Now, why this is important is because Charles was scheduled to speak at the NYU alumni dinner at the Waldorf Astoria in New York at 6:00 p.m. that night. And then what happened, Pat?
Oh, he just didn't go.
He didn't show, and he didn't inform anyone that he wasn't showing.
Very un-Lindy-like behavior.
It was supposedly, he was apparently very reliable and respectful of other people's time, but for this one particular evening and this one particular instance, he doesn't show and gives no explanation.
So what do you make of that?
It's fishy, man. It is weird.
It is kind of weird. I mean, if he's normally very reliable and then he just doesn't show up on the very night that the kid is kidnapped, as you mentioned before, there was a time between 8 and 10 the kid was not to be disturbed. They, no matter what you hear in this room, I guess, do not come in here and do. And that was just a rule that Charles Lindbergh had to toughen the kid up or something. Between 8 and 10, yeah.
Yeah, between 8 and 10, the kid was not to be messed with no matter how much he cried. And guess what time the kidnap occurred? Sometime between 8 and 10. That's all we know.
And Lindbergh was really kind of a weird dude. He had done this just like not all that long before this, a practical joke where he hid the kid in the closet and said the kid had been kidnapped. The kid's missing. We don't know where it is. And we don't know where he is. And he would cause these searches, and freak out the family and the housekeepers and everything, or his wife, I guess I should say. Yeah,
he would ask the help too. He would say, "Hey, where's the baby?" And make the help worry about their job. Get them scared too. Yeah.
I mean, everybody. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not like they didn't care about a missing kid. So and he left and really. Even if you're not going around saying the kid was abducted, leaving the kid in the closet alone for a couple of hours or a few hours, however long it was, pretty weird. Pretty weird. I've never heard of another father going that far for a joke.
And okay, so we talked a little bit about Charles Lindbergh's proclivities for practical jokes and what he considered to be practical jokes. And then we also talked a little bit about how he was just cruel and sadistic to his kid. I learned something new since last episode, which we talked about how he would, throw the pillow at the kid when he tried to walk. He would hide the kid. And then for his second kid, if it whined too much, he would put them outside in the cold during winter and just tell them to stand while he shut the door and finished his dinner. Beloved chatter, thanks so much. Sleep training is sleep training. Who are you to judge?
Could you read that in a thick German accent?
I learned something else, which is, did you know that, again, reported, we don't know if it's true or not, supposedly he crafted a chicken wire pin in which little Charlie was placed outside when he would cry too much because Charles just hated the crying and would leave the kid outside in a chicken wire pin. Yeah.
Only in the winter or just any time year round? It doesn't
he only lived long enough for one winter. So we don't know.
That's true. We don't know the seasonal. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
and he wouldn't have done it from the time he was an infant, I guess, right? Just like,
I'd hope not.
I mean, probably not.
But it is so weird.
Chicken wire pin. I mean, like, the kid couldn't walk all that good, even.
Maybe that's why he didn't need heavy reinforcement of the chicken wire pin. He could barely
tie him
lift
to
his
a
head.
stake. I mean, that's you don't need to build a whole pin. You got a rope, you got a kid, you got a tree.
Pencil Neck says that's just standard Minnesotan child rearing.
Yeah, it's standard behavior training. Who are you to judge?
And weird shit like that. There's so many just fishy, weird things about Lindbergh around fatherhood. And we're going to learn so many more terrible things that you just don't know what to make of all these odd little things, especially that part of him not making that speaking engagement.
Well, he mentions also not the speaking engagement, the state police. At this time, the state police were not the same as the state police. Now, they did not have great crime-solving shit in place. I mean, for lack of a better word, but there's probably plenty of better words. But like their investigation and techniques were not really first rate. They were a joke.
That's a great jumping off point, and let's talk about that. Well, let me make one last point, and we're going to jump right into that, which is if the baby was taken between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m., there is a big question that you have to ask for as far as an investigation goes, which is how did the baby not cry? How were there no sounds that alerted anyone in the house? And
that's actually a point. It's a point in Charles Lindbergh's favor because if he comes into the room, I'm sure the kid just bursts out into tears.
I guess so, but apparently there was reportedly no crying. But then there's the other issue where they had a dog that was actually reported to bark at anyone in the family and any of the help. It had like no discrimination of barking, and apparently the dog never barked either when the help was interviewed.
Dog was out of the room. Dog wasn't in the room. Dog was for some reason in another place.
Yeah, but I don't know enough about where it was, but supposedly it was still unusual that if there was anyone in the house, the dog was apparently barking. This is, again, reported. But let's jump off right to where you were talking. Amber alert. What's happening, Amber? Oh my God, I can't breathe. I have a personal baby story involving chicken wire 2x4s and dangerous hinges that were supposed to be... Was this a wrestling match for babies? What's going on here?
By the way, I was editing the clips for the Jim Jones videos for you, and all I kept thinking now when you were saying he was faking the kidnapping was him just like yelling out "White Knight" to his employees to look for his son.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Think about it, right?
That's funny. Yeah, he was training them. He was training his staff. Okay, so Pat, you brought up an excellent place to jump off to, which is the New Jersey State Police. Okay, there is a lot to unpack here. But let's start off with saying that because you're the most famous person in the world, and you have to call the police. The local police are the ones who actually called the state police. And it was a newly formed entity, hadn't been formed long before this, headed by Norman Schwarzkopf Sr. But guess who else calls Charles Lindbergh personally? J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the people who do, I'm not going to say that their methods for investigating were perfect, but it was better than the state police and the local police. But J. Edgar Hoover calls Charles Lindbergh and says, hey, how can we help? I already have people ready to dispatch to help you. And you're never going to believe what Charles Lindbergh says in response. Don't bother. I'm making that up, but he declines. I'm making up what he said, but he declines. He says, no. We've got it under control. I don't need your help, J. Edgar Hoover. Again, odd. It was odd. It's an odd thing to say. Someone is trying to help you who has the resources, the utilities, the science, and you say, nah, I'm good.
Actually, no, the FBI was so new then. It was only formed in 1908. So it was originally established as the Bureau of Investigation. So it was just the BI.
Ah, not the federal BI?
Not the FBI. It was just called the BI, or the BOI, you might say. Yeah.
Yes. J. Edgar was just calling to ask to borrow Mrs. Lindbergh's garters and stockings. Now, what's funny is there is a little bit of a conspiracy theory. There's nothing to prove it, but supposedly the mafia was blackmailing J. Edgar Hoover at this time, blah, 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 blah. We'll get into that later. Because apparently they knew he was gay. Whatever. But there's nothing to prove that. But it's a funny thing we'll entertain when we get past all the facts. So, J. Edgar Hoover calls, says, let me help you. And Lindbergh says, no, thank you. We got it under control. Now, when the state police get involved, this is so incredibly odd. The head of the state, the superintendent of the state police, Norman Schwarzkopf Sr., respects Charles Lindbergh so much and even apparently goes on record to say, I will do anything that man asks of me, hands over complete control and authority of the investigation to Charles Lindbergh, the man whose baby is missing.
Yeah. That's outlandish. It's outlandish at any time, and it's unforgivable, really. Law enforcement, has evolved over the years, but it was never. I mean, it was never that dumb. It never needed to be that dumb. That's insane.
Now, not only is it insane, let me give you a little bit of a rough idea of some of the orders, or at least instructions, that Charles Lindbergh, as head investigator of his own son's kidnapping, gave to the police, to the state police. One is, do not interfere with ransom negotiations. He gave an order. And then at some point when they attempted to help, he threatens the squad with, if you interfere with anything having to do with the ransom negotiations, I will shoot you. And he's allowed to carry a gun. Does any of this even sound real? Like, this sounds like a Twilight Zone multiverse. Like, it is it is crazy.
I mean, it kind of is almost enough to just kind of go, well, they got the wrong guy. Almost.
Wait till we get to the trial when we discuss how insane the trial was.
Yeah, this is just the mere beginning of the investigation.
Yeah, we're still in the first couple of days of the investigation. We got 3 years.
I'm running things around here. Don't get in the way of any ransom negotiations, or I'll shoot you.
And it's with the blessing of the superintendent of the state police. That's the craziest part of this, is he wasn't just doing this because he was an asshole. He was granted this officially.
Do what he says. He's got a gun.
I mean, it is so insane. Now, would you think that a guy with no criminal investigation experience would make a good leader of a criminal investigation team? No, he does not. So let's talk about a couple of the bonehead moves that he makes while he is an investigator. You know what? Let's watch a little bit more of this, and we'll jump back to that.
Despite newspaper accounts to the contrary. State police officials do say a cast was taken where the ransom money was paid, but they...
Okay, that's what I wanted to cover. We're going to back up just a little bit here and talk about footprints that were found at the scene. Okay, so let's talk about this ladder. The ladder that was used, or you know what, let's not even say used, that was found near the house. It was about 70 feet from the house. Supposedly, there were 2 sets of footprints. Now, that's going to become very important later.
It's obviously important immediately.
Yeah, but the issue is that no casts were taken of these footprints. That's the hard part. We can only take reports on them. And there becomes confusion where the newspapers report that there were casts of the feet taken, and then the police start refuting it, saying, no, there weren't. Well, then people start asking, well, why weren't there any plaster casts taken of these feet? And there's really not...
Lindbergh said he'd shoot us if we took any.
There's not an answer given. And then here's what's really crazy is that only based on reports, we don't know that this is true or not, that there were efforts to mask the footprints in which you did not see the sole of a shoe in the mud. Rather, you saw what looked like some kind of cloth or fabric. So that means that these supposed kidnappers either wrapped their shoes in cloth or they tried this kidnapping while only wearing their socks.
Or somebody went back later and made footprints.
Yeah. And with the 2 sets of footprints, it was not a...
That makes perfect sense, actually, because what they would do is put socks on the outside of their shoes so their shoes don't get muddy, so that they can't, connect the mud to the shoes, and then you could just throw away the socks.
That might be it. But then there's also an issue of distinguishing whether or not these footprints even belonged to the kidnappers, because the press started invading this area and they think that one of the sets of footprints could have been attributed to someone from the press. We don't know that, but it was a theory, and a very reasonable, logical theory.
So we don't know anything really about the footprints.
We don't know anything. That's exactly it. We know nothing.
Got it.
And no one made
There were 2
any
sets
efforts.
of footprints. That meant Jesus held the ladder.
No one made any efforts to preserve the evidence.
Yeah, and the shocking part of this is is Lindbergh interrogating himself. I mean, where was I last night?
He did that thing that Curly did on the Three Stooges, where he runs into the chair and then runs back around.
Yeah. Did I kidnap this baby?
hand.
No.
I'm a victim of circumstance. All right, let's watch just a little bit of this.
Say that cat.
By the way, folks, you have to watch Pat and Bob with Joey from Wednesday night. I swear to you, if you're a fan of Joey or not, I've never laughed so fucking hard.
Oh, thanks.
It was great. It was so good.
Yeah, we
please
had
go
fun.
watch. Yes.
Past was done by an amateur, a relative of the go-between.
As far as I know, the footprints at the Lindbergh mansion were not cast. I would want to believe that if in fact that footprint was cast, it should have been in Trooper Wolf's report, or would have been in Trooper Wolf's report. And in the initial investigation,
Jesus.
it's not mentioned.
I wish I would talk faster. It's very tedious.
Yeah.
As a New York investigator, it should be noted too. The ladder was not outside the window like we keep seeing it. It was
that is a recreation. Absolutely.
It
That's
is
correct.
some distance away off a service road.
See, now that's another thing, is that some people have said it was like half a mile. I've heard 70 feet. Again, another unconfirmed part of the story.
Well, and anecdotally, I heard that, from one source, that he basically, when the cops got there, he led them with a flashlight right to the ladder.
Yep. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that, let me run down this quick timeline, which is at around 10 p.m., Betty Gow goes into the nursery to take Charlie for his nighttime bathroom break. They were potty training him. Excuse me. And Betty Gow ran to Charles and Anne's bedroom and asked Anne if she had Charlie. Anne said no and told Betty to ask Charles. Charles was in the library reading. So after she asks Charles, Charles races upstairs to see the empty crib for himself. Now, from that timeline, we have one person who went into the room by themselves, and now we have two people in two separate instances entering the room. I'll tell you why this is important. When Charles realizes that Charlie was gone, Charles goes and grabs his rifle and then returns to the nursery. There's now 3 visits to the nursery, okay? And then while looking around the nursery, on this third time, he finds an envelope sitting on the radiator just below the open windowsill. He does not touch the envelope, and he tells everyone in the house also to not touch the envelope. At around 10:25, which is 25 minutes after learning that Charles was missing, Charles tells the staff to call the police department. What happens in that 25 minutes, we don't know. And then
actually, he called his attorney first.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard that part.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. State police show up because the local police refers this to them. And then by 11 o'clock p.m., there's a statewide police blockade in place. The New Jersey State Police head toward Highfields, New Jersey, or Highfields was the name of the estate, sorry, to investigate the crime. And the envelope is dusted for fingerprints, but no fingerprints are found on the envelope or the note inside. And we've talked about the ransom note asking for $50,000 and had this very special mark on it.
They're wearing socks in their hands.
Yeah, they might have been. But here's another crazy thing, and this is where I intended to jump off when you brought up the state police's investigative methods, is that they also dust the entire nursery for fingerprints. And guess what they find?
No fingerprints.
No fingerprints at all. Meaning none from Charles, none from the maid, none from the baby.
Oh, so you're like, there's just like 0 fingerprints.
There are 0 fingerprints entirely. So what does that say to you, Pat?
I didn't do this.
It means that someone cleaned the room.
Yeah.
Of fingerprints before the police got there. Why would they do that? That's crazy. Okay, now we've talked about the letter. It was full of misspellings. People thought that it must have been a German person because of the way it was written. And then we covered a lot of that stuff.
I see what you mean. Like, I mean, it's just to point out that like the kidnapper would just pick up the kid. He wouldn't go around touching everything in the room first, so there would be no reason to do that.
Maybe. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
The reason it doesn't make any sense. A lot of people would think like, oh, well, if you're committing a crime someplace, right, you want to clean the fingerprints. But there were no fingerprints like anywhere, meaning, you know, that they would have had to come in and basically dust the room, you know, like right. Clean all the furniture off and clean all the surfaces around like the crib, everything, you know. Nobody would, if you're just picking a child up out of a fucking whatever the fuck it sleeps in, a bed, I guess, then you would you wouldn't have to wipe everything down.
Exactly. It's odd. But there is mud found in the room. So why would they have gone through the effort of wiping down everything for fingerprints, but then left mud from their shoe in the nursery? I mean, there's a lot of things that just don't connect. Amber asks a very good question. Maybe the baby didn't have fingers. That's a good question. And honestly, it's actually not outside the realm of possibility. So these are some things that just don't add up about this crime scene. So they, there's no fingerprints whatsoever. There is mud. And then back to, and I'm sorry for jumping back and forth, there's just so much here. After Charles Lindbergh is given full reign over the state police department, the first suggestion that he gets from Norman Schwarzkopf Sr., the superintendent of the state police, is, hey, we have to interview your staff. We have to make sure that everyone here is on the up and up. You know why? Because this looks like an inside fucking job. And guess what happens as Charles Lindbergh is now the head of the investigation? I think you know this part, Pat, don't you?
Well, yeah, he just says, no, you're not going to interview anybody.
He just says no.
Okay. Well, we'll be going.
And the police say Charles Lindbergh said no. All right, everybody go home. Let's try to beat traffic.
What the fuck?
Tell me nobody's above the law, you know?
They take his instruction and his word. He gives the state police his word as the most famous person on the planet. No. There is no one here who would ever attempt to do anything so terrible. And don't forget, there are more than one person. I believe there are at least 4 people on his staff that night. And the state police say, okay, Charles Lindbergh said no. That's a direct order. We can't interview his staff.
It's pre-background check and everything, I think.
On what planet? Like, on what planet did this happen? This is so insane. Imagine if John Benet Ramsey's parents said, no, police. You don't get to interview anybody. They wouldn't do anything wrong.
They weren't famous. They were nobody.
I know.
I'm saying they didn't fly around the world, Luigi. That's just stupid.
Maybe
they were only famous for killing their daughter.
By the way, did you guys know? I learned this not too long ago, and this is like a bizarre fact that John Benet Ramsey's father dated Natalie Holloway's mother. Did y'all know that? It's a weird thing.
Who's Natalie Holloway?
The girl who disappeared in Aruba in 2005, and they never found her body.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of weird, right?
How long did they date?
I believe for like 2 years.
Did they date like because we have this thing in common or something?
I think so. Yeah, like it was so like I guess John Benet Ramsey's mother died at some point, and then he went to a bar for mothers with kids missing. I don't know. I really don't know, but it had something
maybe a
to
support group or something.
Yeah, it had something to do with them doing some sort of media something together about their missing kids, and they started dating. Seriously, it's not even a joke. That really happened.
I can't hold it against them. I mean, whatever. I mean, was she? Yeah. She might have been nice looking.
It's crazy. Manigan, thank you so much. Manigan 2025. The kid died during a round of baby in the chicken pen. Lindbergh covered it up and then framed the immigrant. Case closed. Manigan, you're not far off, at least from what we understand.
It sounds like a viable theory. It's just as viable as anything else, really.
It is this, and folks, this story gets even stranger. It gets so much stranger. This is, I mean, why there isn't like, well, I guess this is really kind of an infamous case, but I feel like it loses steam occasionally, and people don't know about this. I feel like everyone needs to know about this case because it's so fucking nuts. The Gribbler, thank you very much for the $5. Everyone knows the Jews did this because he was a Nazi sympathizer. That is going to play a role. We're just going through the progressions. We're going to get there, and it gets weird when we get into the Nazi stuff. I hate being scared of what I'm going to say. Folks, we actually got hit with something because we made a joke about that crazy guy from Germany in the 30s. All we did was say the name, and we got hit with something so fucking stupid.
Old 88 man.
Anyway.
Yeah, what if you brought somebody on and that was their name?
Yeah, exactly. Did you know, I once heard, I don't know if it was a joke, because I do think it was a comedian who said it, that his relatives changed their name to Shitler. which means nothing in German, but it just,
but
it's funnier here.
Yeah, but and what's funny is they didn't even start off with the original name or anything. They just changed it to that.
Yes,
they were like
name
the
originally
Leibowitz family. Yeah, they changed the name to Shitler.
They were the Applebombs. They changed the name to Shitler.
just to be funny,
Okay.
You think about Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's like, wait, you changed your name to Latrine? Yes, it used to be Shithouse. It's a good change. It's a good change.
That's a great movie. I need to watch that.
It was excellent.
All right. So, okay. This is where
Wait, hang on.
Blind. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Oh, Gribbler, thank you very much for the $2. Probably Shuli's very own grandfather Shuli's. Probably Shuli's very own grandfather Shuli's shaking my head.
Yep.
I feel like I missed it.
Am I right?
Am I saying it wrong?
Just laugh and move on.
All right. Thank you very much, Gribbler. Thank you for the $2. All right. So, no fingerprints found in the nursery. The staff is not allowed to be interviewed. And let's go back to this video. I think it's a great place to have a lever drop. Thank you very much, Tuki Sock account.
Shiver me timbers, get it? It's like a pirate.
Thank you.
And that lever was for
yeah.
Jack Sampson. Shout out. He helped us out with a project we have coming up sometime in the near future. So
Thank you.
I put his character into a lever.
Pat,
is that Mo up there by the papers?
It does look like Mo. I actually thought the cop talking looked like Mo too. Pat, we have to tell you about what Jack Sampson is helping us with. it's pretty mind blowing. All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you for the lever transitions. All right, so let's watch just a little bit more of this to get us up to speed.
In Wolf's description of the crime was his belief that the kidnapping involved more than one person. An assumption, Felicito says, that has led critics to believe a gang was involved in the kidnapping.
He makes a few statements.
That cop's facial expression that wasn't a fart. A little extra came out.
Was in the area because he saw two sets of footprints. So that's the way he reported it, without finding out the facts that later on to determine one of the sets of footprints to be Mrs. Lindbergh's.
Trooper Frank Kelly.
What?
So do you remember when I just said a little while ago that the common perception of the two sets of footprints was that one had to be the kidnappers and one was thought to be the press? This guy is saying with definitive certainty that one of those of the two was neither, or was not the press.
Was the fucking lady, the mother, the kid.
Mrs. Lindbergh's.
Okay.
With a minimum of 70 feet away from the house.
Uh-huh.
And also what you have said, which is another disputed fact, which could have been half a mile from the house. But it was the mother's footprint. That just doesn't make any fucking sense. But this guy's saying it with certainty, where I've never heard, I've never heard any other documentarian say that. Only this guy. So, again, we know nothing. Nothing. We know nothing.
Dusted the notes and ladder for fingerprints. The state police say no recognizable fingerprints were found. A point Hauptmann supporters challenge.
The New Jersey State Police at the time of the trial of the century possessed fingerprints of the kidnapper. And those prints came from ransom letters, a series that were sent from the kidnapper to the Lindbergh family representative.
So what this guy is saying is that there were fingerprints
like
found.
Howard.
He does. It's like a cross between that and Larry Fine. So while every reported story of this case has said no fingerprints, that was Anna Hauptmann's lawyer. Anna Hauptmann being the wife of the man who was executed for this crime, because she ultimately tried to sue for wrongful death later in life. He's saying that he uncovered documentation from the police that there were, in fact, fingerprints found, but it was never revealed during the trial.
When Richard Hauptmann was arrested 2.5 years later, one of the first things they did was to take sets of his prints and rush them to the lab and have them compared to those prints from the ransom notes. And you know what? They did not match.
I don't know of any.
He is saying that there are records showing that the police actually did find fingerprints on the note, but they weren't Hauptmann's.
Well, there were several notes.
But so far, none of them had anything to do with no fingerprints were reported.
Well, and what he said was that there were fingerprints on the notes.
Oh, okay.
So,
sorry.
I mean, like,
Yes,
I don't know what
notes.
that means. It could be any of these or all of them, I guess. But you would
But
think they
none-
would fingerprint the note.
But none of them matched Hauptmann. That's what he's claiming. And again,
That's what he's saying, yeah.
I want to go back to say we don't know.
Any identifiable fingerprints on any of the evidence that was critical to the prosecution of the case. However, Brian provided us with documents that suggest that the FBI possessed copies of the ransom notes containing some latent prints. FBI tests showed Hauptmann's prints did not match the latent ones. The first ransom note demanded $50,000 for the return of the baby and included some unusual misspellings.
The child is in good care, it's spelled G-U-T. Indication for all letters are signature. Instead of signature, it says signature. And it's a very unique kind of a signature.
Unofficially, Colonel Lindbergh had control of the investigation and wanted his son back at all costs. There was thought that the kidnapping was the work of organized crime. Al Capone even offered, if let out of prison, to find the baby himself. Capone's offer was turned down, but Lindbergh agreed to allow local mobster Mickey Rosner to copy the ransom note and show it around to organized crime contacts.
Think about that for a second. Now, Charles Lindbergh is the unofficial head of the investigation. We just heard him say that. And when he starts thinking that the mob might have something to do with this, he goes and finds someone who was, I don't know the relationship, but apparently someone who was a bootlegger and had claimed to have mob ties. And he gives him a copy of the note. And this person goes and shows a copy of the unpublished ransom note to known mobsters and tells them, do you know who this could have been?
Yeah.
Now,
that's what happens when you have no headquarters to call them into.
Yes. And this is now essentially giving criminals information to completely forge their own set of facts to fool Lindbergh and any negotiations to ingratiate themselves into the negotiations to potentially fraudulently take this money. Of course, it's all fraud, but I'm saying this is now a third party who now has details of the ransom that they are not supposed to have, that were not published, that were not public.
Right.
And now you're giving these to known criminals who now can interject themselves, that's a better way of saying it, interject themselves as saying that they were the original kidnappers and take the money. He starts showing this note around.
Yeah.
You know, can I give a different point of view on
ahead.
that?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Just one. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure one of y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever wants to go.
Go ahead, Pat.
Especially the signature, was supposed to be unique. So that's, if they could basically, like you said, they could start writing their own notes or whatever. I mean, I don't even know.
That's exactly it. It's now giving them the information they aren't supposed to have in order to start filling in their own ransom notes with the secretive information that they weren't supposed to have. Yeah. So what were you going to say, Gummi?
Okay, so the angle I'm looking at it is, I think that might not be a possibility because the criminal's like, look, we're bootleggers. If we need to, we'll shoot a motherfucker, but we don't fuck around messing with kids. So I think it's more they want to distance themselves from it to prove that if they find someone who did it, they'll take care of that person who took the kid. Because that's like a whole other can of worms, you know what I'm saying?
But at the end of the day, we don't know who all he shared it with,
Right, exactly.
what they might do. It's just no chain of custody on it.
He was a bootlegger. We don't know exactly who he showed it to. But Josh from Jersey, I think, sums it up. Italians, am I right?
Yes. Yes, sausage and pepper.
Jay, wait, what does Mario Bosco have to say about the Charles Lindbergh kidnapping?
His kid is gone. It's a tragedy. Did you see me in that one movie with J-Lo? With J-Lo, I got to dance with her. Probably something like that.
I love your Mario Bosco.
His head right on.
That big noggin. Jay Wolf said, I'm confused. I can't tell whether this is a fact, or a fact. So are we. That's the whole thing. They call these facts, but they're not. Everything is in dispute. All right.
This has got to be tough on you as a skeptic, you know.
Every part of this is odd because I don't know what to believe, who to believe, or who's even credible or reliable in this story. So I just don't believe anything. I can't believe anything. All right, now for the rest of the show, we're all going to do our Mario Bosco impressions. now let's talk about the investigation. I don't do a good Mario Bosco. I'm sorry.
It's pretty good.
He has this weird raspiness. I can't figure out how to do that with my throat, where it's like it's childish up front, but on the back end it almost sounds like a teenager. I don't know how to even describe it. Yeah, it's like it's a little crack in his voice with everything he says that I just can't do. Anyway, have you ever seen when he interviewed the porn star Lisa Ann, when he used to have a show? It is one of the most awkward moments. I think Bedabbler played it on his show once.
Well, she actually picked him up by the heels and started fucking herself with him.
And he just said, Maron! Mamma mia!
I don't want to suffocate, God forbid.
He's like in his 50s now, I think. Like he's 55, yeah. and she starts like saying all this crazy sexual stuff, like she's the anal queen and all this stuff. And she goes, "Well, what are your sexual preferences?" Something like that. And he goes, "I'm a virgin." Like it just puts such a complete like screeching halt. And she just goes, "Oh, really?" Anyway, I recommend watching it. It's really funny.
I just realized Elliot Page is looking like a younger Mario Bosco.
Oh my God, yes. If she would just wear a sweater vest.
Kidding? Elliot's all cut up, man.
All right. So, okay. So now let's talk about the investigation. Man, it's crazy. Time flies with this topic. All right, so the
Time
New Jersey
flies when you're killing kids.
That's right. So the state police show up. They give him all this access. Lindbergh is completely fucking everything up. There's just no other way to say it. Giving him control has fucked everything up. There are just so many holes that we can point to in the investigation. And supposedly when Schwarzkopf asked to interview his staff, Lindbergh acted insulted. That was reported from one thing I found, where he was like, "How dare you, you son of a bitch?" And it won Schwarzkopf over. Schwarzkopf was like, "Okay, fine. We're not going to interview anybody." So then for some weird reason, Charles Lindbergh asks Norman Schwarzkopf, who is now second in command, that no one be arrested until Charlie had been returned. He literally tells the superintendent of the police, "Don't arrest anybody, please."
Yeah. We want no leverage. Yeah.
Don't arrest anybody until the kid comes back. Now, I want to also give context to this. We talked a little bit about this on the first episode, which this is during Prohibition and during the Great Depression. What's weird was that supposedly there was an epidemic of kidnappings at this time because people were desperate, but it was apparently very routine, in which when you kidnap somebody, they were returned. At least that's what was believed at the time, that they weren't going to be harmed. They were going to be returned in fine condition as long as money got exchanged. And that if you want to believe that Charles Lindbergh was not involved, you could say that he believed what he had heard on the news about the kidnappings that had been occurring, in which he had full faith that if he listened to the kidnappers, gave them the money, that little Charlie would be returned. That's just one theory. All right. And so Charles believes that the mafia took Charlie. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused over the Charles and Charlie, the baby. And
there's Charles in charge, and then there's Charlie.
Of our days and our nights.
And the investigation.
Yes, and the investigation. So on March 6th, oh, you know what? Actually, let's go back to this real quick.
The fact that many people might have seen the ransom note and its distinctive signature led critics to believe the extortionist might not necessarily have been the kidnapper. State police officials say all the ransom notes were written by the same person. The kidnapper, they say, disguised his writing in the first note, but relaxed in notes he wrote later. Supporters of Hauptmann say the first note was written by someone else. They say the person who wrote the second note was deliberately trying to copy the first.
Now, like you said earlier, me being a skeptic, I don't know who to believe, because the whole theory here is that someone willfully and very intentionally tried to disguise their handwriting. So if that is the basis of what we believe here, how can we point to anything that is the real genuine handwriting of someone by saying that, no, he forced, this was completely done as a hoax and deliberately made to look different. But wait a minute, look at this. That totally came from Hauptmann. You can't, I don't feel like those two arguments exist on the same plane. But it doesn't stop either side from believing it.
But the step that Lindbergh took is great because, it does muddy the waters a lot. I mean, like he's like basically building in all these points of contention that if he were charged, an attorney could easily, say, hey, we don't know anything about this note. It could have been the mob.
Yeah, Pat. This is Mario Bosco, and he says, you're right.
It's good observation. Mozzarella.
You're a very logical debater. I wish I did better.
Imagine the detective doing like the cast of like putting like shredded mozzarella to melt to get like the shoe prints. Like it's all Italian foods he uses as detective gear.
God forbid.
He's just eating a bowl of pasta while investigating. And what's interesting is I also learned that, did you know that, and you mentioned this in the last episode, Pat, is that you can't convict someone on handwriting analysis. You just can't, because it's unreliable. It's not really a science. It's only circumstantial evidence to possibly point a finger at someone. There's nothing about it that you can confirm. Amber Alert, just realized maybe my name is a little too on the nose here. I didn't even think about it, but you are correct. But did you know that since it's not a science, there are no standards or metrics by which, even today, that handwriting analysis is evaluated when determining a quote unquote match? Like there is no what sort of standardized definition for the word match when it comes to handwriting analysis. When someone uses that, who calls themselves a handwriting expert, it's their own definition of what they call a match, meaning there could be like, a loop, a gesture or something in the handwriting, a minimum amount of standards to call it a science. None of that exists even today. So
so they're the sandwich artists of forensic sciences.
Yeah, the spoon benders.
Sandwich artists will always make me giggle when you pull it up in the middle of a serious topic.
Sorry, I have to.
No, that's what you're here for.
It always annoys me.
Yeah. I bet Mario Bosco would be a great sandwich artist with the sausage and peppers. I can do that all day. All right.
Critics also question the way handwriting samples were taken from Hauptmann. There are claims that he was beaten.
He had been...
Okay, that's a little too far. We'll get back to that. Let's talk more about the investigation before we get there. Okay. So on March 6th, the second ransom note arrives at the Lindbergh home. The ransom now is increased from $50,000 to $70,000. It says, we told you not to get the police involved. Now you got to pay a penalty. So that penalty is $20,000. And it has the same symbol as the original ransom note. On March 8th, another ransom note was sent, but this time it is sent to the Lindbergh's lawyer, Henry Breckenridge. And it was another demand for the same $70,000 and was pretty much identical to the second letter. But this letter talks a little bit about how this kidnapping had been planned for over a year. Odd. Like they just start giving all this weird information. And this is where it actually asks that the communications all be posted in the newspaper. And this is the same day that 72-year-old retired school teacher James Condon, who was apparently a huge fan of Charles Lindbergh, publishes the letter. Yes, Condon. The letter in the Bronx Home News, offering to be the intermediary between Lindbergh and the kidnappers. Odd enough on its face, but even more odd in the context of the fact of thinking that in 1932, that this is how people communicated and that everyone was going to be looking at the same newspapers. This is not the same newspaper that was requested that communications be done through. This was the Bronx Home News. But, as we said in the last episode, on March 9th, Condon receives a letter from the kidnappers saying that they saw his letter in the Bronx Home News, and they accept his offer to be the intermediary. And it includes instructions to deliver a letter to the Lindberghs, and it was sealed. The letter was sent to Condon, and they ask him to deliver this letter to travel to take it to the Lindberghs. He was instructed to not read it, and he was also instructed to gather the ransom money from the Lindberghs, and once that had been done, to publish a message in the New York American newspaper. I know this is so complicated, and I apologize, but he is instructed to publish that in 4 words: "The money is ready," and that was supposed to be his acknowledgement that we're ready to move forward. It also stated that once Condon had the money, he was to stay home every night from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. until he received instructions as to how to deliver the money to the kidnappers. We all remember this part of the story? Mm-hmm. And let's talk a little bit about Condon and what happens next. He is given instructions to take the money to a cemetery.
He used his own name, but a code name, to avoid publicity that might jeopardize sensitive negotiations. So he made use of the sound of his initials, JFC, or Jafsy. Jafsy met face-to-face twice with a man who became known as Cemetery
Christ.
John, because each meeting took place at a cemetery. At the first meeting here at Woodlawn Cemetery, John saw someone, got scared, and jumped the fence. Condon chased him here, where they discussed the return of the baby.
So he sits down with this guy who's masked. He has a cloth over his face. He's wearing a disguise.
And his shoes.
Maybe. And he has a conversation with him. Now, again, reported facts. No one was with Condon at this meeting. This is all Condon's firsthand account of this story. We have no idea what happened. All we have is his report of what happened because he was told not to come with anybody. And also what's interesting is that he begins to have this weird negotiation with this person, and he claims that it is a European voice that he hears, but the guy tells him, no, I'm not European, I'm Scandinavian. And then they make a deal where Condon says, I need you to give me something to let me know that you have the kid.
Jafsy wanted to see the baby, but was told it was impossible. He then asked for proof that the baby was alive.
And Cemetery John had said he would send him something in a couple of days. A package arrived at Dr. Condon's house and contained this sleeping suit. And it was identified by Colonel Lindbergh as that of his son.
Now, take that into account. he says, "Give me something." And apparently John tells him right there at the spot, okay, the baby had on a sleeping suit. I guess that just means pajamas. Had a sleeping suit, and I'm going to send you the sleeping suit to let you know that we have the kid. He sends it, and Charles Lindbergh, the father, allegedly confirms that that is the sleeping suit that the baby was wearing the night that he was kidnapped. Anything to say? Anything to add?
It's more bullshit, you know.
Yeah, and if it was true, that means that the baby was dead, and they're like, wait, let's take the shirt, then discard the body. Like,
Well,
that's fucked up if it is true, also.
Like, there's no scenario that isn't fucked up. There's no
Right.
scenario here that isn't. It is just crazy, but apparently the father says, yep, that's the one. But let's see what... That's right. I'm also not European. I'm Scandinavian, Mr. Blue Sky.
What up, Blue Sky?
So listen to this little part of the story.
About 3 weeks later, on April 2nd, Colonel Lindbergh and Condon were set to pay the ransom money. They were directed to this cemetery. State Police Superintendent Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf had wanted to put Condon under surveillance so they could capture the kidnapper. Lindbergh said, "No police."
Lindbergh says, again, no police. Why? Why would he do that? And then, knowing that we know the outcome of this story, how could he identify the sleep suit? Nothing adds up in this story. Nothing. It's all a bunch of bullshit. My Mario Bosco just turns into like a weird, God,
He's
why
not
can't
a
I think-
person. Don't worry about it.
Munchkin. I was trying to think of the word Munchkin from the Wizard of Oz. So, none of this adds up. So, here's another huge part of the story that doesn't add up, is that now they're directed to go to a second cemetery in order to make the exchange of the money for the baby. But do you guys remember what was the amount that was asked for?
70,000, right?
70,000. They don't take 70,000. They take 50,000, which was the original amount of the ransom note. But nobody knows why.
Negotiation.
Broken goods.
But there's no record of negotiation. There's no record of them going back on the $7,000.
But I'm saying that is the negotiation.
Oh, we only
I got
have the
50 on me.
50,000? I got 50
Well,
on me.
whatever. They're not going to count it.
Maybe, but it is odd that we're talking about a life here, or at least what we are led to believe, Charles Lindbergh believes, is a living baby, and that he says, don't give them the full 70, just take this. And it might be exactly what you said. They're not going to, they're dumb. They're dumb criminals. They're not going to count it. They don't know how to count. Just give them this.
Yeah, just write a $sign in the bag. They'll take it.
But it's quite a risk to take for a living baby. They asked for 70. We're going to short the criminals that have our living son. It's odd. Thanks, Jay Wolfenstein. Luigi, keep doing your Mario Bosco impression. It sounds less gay than your real voice. Shut up. Love you, Jay. So that's another odd thing. But this time, when they're making the exchange, Charles Lindbergh says no police to the New Jersey State Police. However, he goes with Condon to make the drop. And this is where it gets even more bizarre, if you can believe it. It was clearly a Black Friday deal on kids, right? Thank you, Pisswife. This gets weird. Now, pay attention.
As Dr. Condon was walking toward Whitmore Avenue, he heard a voice from inside the cemetery yell, "Hey, Doctor."
Okay, that is one of the most important details of this case that is going to come up again and again and again during the trial. There is a voice from inside the cemetery after Condon has gone into the cemetery and is looking for Cemetery John, there's a voice that says, "Hey, doctor." During this time, Charles
Holy shit, they're
Lindbergh,
zombies.
Charles Lindbergh is in a car on the street. That's what he testified to. He is in a car. He took Condon there, and he's in a car on the street. And then there is a voice from the inside of the cemetery that says, "Hey, doctor." Okay.
And that voice was identified by Colonel Lindbergh as that of Bruno Hauptmann.
Condon was told the baby would be found on board the...
Hold on, I got to back that up. Hold on.
Sorry.
It's all right.
And that voice was identified by Colonel Lindbergh as that of Bruno Hauptmann.
Identified by Charles Lindbergh, who was in the car on the street, as Bruno Hauptmann, the man who was eventually arrested for the kidnapping after he gets is connected through the money. We're going to get there. But it is identified by Charles Lindbergh.
Condon was told the baby would be found on board the boat Nellie. Lindbergh searched and searched for the boat off the coast of Massachusetts, but found nothing. He realized he had been taken for $50,000. Then, on May 12th, 5 weeks after the ransom was paid and 10 weeks after the kidnapping, a truck driver pulled to the side of the Princeton-Hopewell Road in the Mount Rose Hill section of Hopewell Township to relieve himself. And here, just a few miles from the Lindbergh home, he stumbled upon the remains of a baby, half buried with its face down.
The baby, we've already said this, we know, was never taken. The baby died the night of the alleged kidnapping and was left in the woods. I believe it was about 4.5 miles from the Lindbergh house. Have you ever seen pictures of the baby, Pat?
Yeah, I believe I have. Yeah.
They're going to show a picture of it. Hopefully we won't get struck for it. I don't think we will.
The hair, the cleft in the chin, the number of teeth, facial characteristics, overlapping toe, but mostly the clothes sealed the identification. The baby was found wearing the homemade shirt Betty Gow had
That's the baby.
made for him the night of the kidnapping. From the very beginning, police started questioning servants at the Lindbergh and Morrow estates.
Let's talk a little bit more about the servants.
Nursemaid Betty Gow and her boyfriend, Red Johnson, came under suspicion. She canceled a date with him when the baby became ill, so it was assumed that he knew the family stayed at Highfields and thus could have committed the kidnapping. Those suspicions proved to be unfounded, but Johnson, in the United States illegally, was deported.
Did you know that? Did you know that part of the story? That Betty Gow, who was the
She was afraid she'd be deported, yeah.
She was afraid she was going to be deported, but she canceled a date that night with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend was eventually deported after they found out because he was there illegally. But then there's Violet Sharp, who was a maid at Anne's parents' house in Inglewood.
Another servant under suspicion was Violet Sharp, a maid in the Morrow home. After some intense questioning by the police, Violet Sharp committed suicide by drinking a substance used to clean silver.
She begins to get asked questions. Now, she was not a part of Lindbergh's staff, so she was not, she was not off limits because she worked for Anne's parents. And in the investigation of trying to see if there was an inside job, they began to investigate Anne's parents.
Oh,
and
loophole.
and she gets asked for an interview, and she gets caught in a lie.
The speculation at the time was that she would rather die than talk about her role in the kidnapping. But the police said there was another reason for her suicide. Sharp had reportedly been out with several men and was sexually intimate with them. Police had wanted to know her whereabouts the night of the kidnapping, and she was afraid that if they found out, Mrs. Morrow would have fired her and sent her back to England.
Yeah, she was a slut.
But that's okay. Now let's talk again about disputed facts. What's crazy is that's the report in this particular documentary, that she had been sexually intimate with several men and didn't want to admit it, and then swallowed silver polish to kill herself. I have found more than one other source that say that's not what happened. Instead, what happened was she was at a speakeasy during Prohibition. and that she had originally said that she was in a movie theater with some friends, but got caught in a lie because she talked about people that she didn't really know. And by the time that there was a fourth interview that was requested, she started to get a little upset and that she was going to have to get deported or might have been in legal trouble, and that she killed herself with a form of potassium cyanide that women at the time kept around as a way to delouse their garments. So again.
So it's either, again, we don't know, but silver polish or delousing garments stuff. But, you know, it also, you have to wonder, right? I mean, Charles Lindbergh played the practical joke of filling up a water pitcher with kerosene in the past. That guy almost died by poisoning himself. So maybe
true.
Lindbergh actually, you know, helped it along.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. I'm on board with that. But what's crazy is, again, the dispute of facts. One person is saying that she killed herself because that she didn't want to talk about her sex life. One is saying is because she was violating prohibition laws. And then, of course, there's the theory that maybe she just simply had something to do with it and her conscience got the best of her. We don't know because there is no credible collection of facts for this story.
Well, there's probably also no suicide note in this case, apparently.
No suicide note.
So we don't know. I mean, like, you can only speculate as to the reasons why. So, I mean, it's natural there would be more than one theory on that.
Exactly. But what's crazy is people reporting it as facts. You know, there are several of these that just say this is what happened. And there's several others that just simply say, no, they got it wrong.
So saying in this case, they're saying the initial investigation, they said that it was because, you know, she thought she was going to be in trouble, but I guess they later figured, well, there are other possible reasons that she might have wanted to. She really didn't want to get deported. Did you know that Hauptmann, you know, he had a criminal record in Germany? Are you aware of that?
We are going to discuss that.
We will
discuss that. Yes. But here is what I'm getting at by saying all that about you know, the dispute of facts is that, oddly enough, despite all those disputed facts of her suicide, there is still a somewhat agreement amongst historians that she had nothing to do with the kidnapping because of these excuses that are given for her suicide. And I find that unbelievable, uncredible.
It's a historical consensus. I mean, you learn how little that means, I guess, right?
Yes, but I guess even you remember you and I were talking about how there was a very recent, you know, podcast that documented a lot of this. Even
Sorry, storming bad here.
No, man, all good. Even he says, yeah, but she didn't have anything to do with it because what she really killed herself over was, you know, X.
Anybody who says they know has an agenda.
Exactly. That's exactly. No. Okay. Then we are on the same page. You and I are very much on the same page. I just find it unbelievable that anyone can say with any certainty, this is exactly what happened and this is why. That's what I just cannot wrap my head around. Ghost Crusaders, thank you. Ghost Crusaders TV, sorry. Thank you very much for the $4.99. This sounds like the plot to Midnight on the Orient Express.
Minus the...
I don't know that one. What is that Agatha Christie?
I know. Yeah, it is.
You know, there's a really weird story about Agatha Christie faking a kidnapping. Do you guys? We'll talk about that on an episode one day.
Well, let's go into it now. What the fuck?
I don't know enough, but she disappeared.
I was kidding. We shouldn't spend any time on that.
I don't know much about it. I shouldn't even speculate, but there's a weird story. But yes, so here.
No one actually saw Bruno Richard Hauptmann take the Lindbergh baby, so police needed a way to connect him to the scene of the crime. Troopers were sent to try to find neighbors who could place him near high fields.
A gentleman by the name of Amandus Housemuth. He lived right on the corner, and he claims that the night before the early evening of the kidnapping, he did see a car come around the corner from Hopewell, made a fast turn, went into the ditch, and there was a ladder in the car.
So apparently, there was a witness that said that they saw the night before the kidnapping Hauptmann driving with a ladder on his car, and he got stuck in a ditch.
Which was in 3 sections, he claimed, and across the windows. And he later identified Hauptmann as definitely the man that was in the car that day.
They can't even agree on the number of sections are in this fucking ladder. I've heard 2, I've heard 3. It's like, this is fucking ridiculous.
It's funny. I haven't heard 2. I heard 3. But listen to this follow-up.
To the county jail to identify Hauptmann.
He stood fully 10 minutes looking at Hauptmann. We got outside and rode about 5 miles back towards Hopewell. I asked him what he thought. He said, God help me, that is the man I saw in the car that day.
Mr. Hoffman was 87 years old and had cataracts in both eyes. He could hardly see. When he went into Governor Hauptmann to talk about the reward, he had asked him what that was on a cabinet. It was a vase with flowers. He said it was a woman's hat.
At the time when the kidnapping, that was 4 years earlier, and I don't believe there was any problem with his eyes at that time.
Another eyewitness was Millard Whited. He lived on a farm near Highfields, and when first questioned by police, said he had seen nothing suspicious. 2.5 years later, after looking at a picture of Hauptmann, he said, "This was man I saw at Highfields in February 19."
So
fuck all this. I mean, it's ridiculous.
How
fuck
insane
all
is this?
Fuck all this. I don't need all these details. It's fucking retarded. I mean, it's just fucking retarded.
Is this?
I don't mean to just fucking blow up, but it's like, there's other shit, you know, but this is just outlandish. There's no excuse for nobody knowing anything to this extent. No excuse.
I am right there with you, but I'm emphasizing how ridiculous this is, and an innocent man got put to death because of, regardless of whether or not we think
we don't even know.
We don't know. And regardless of whether or not we think that this guy kidnapped the baby, which I'm going to completely say, I don't know if he did or if he didn't, he did not get a fair shake as far as a trial goes, as far as justice goes.
The whole criminal justice system let him down either way, even if guilty.
Yes, exactly. It is unbelievable the depths that this goes through as far as a fraud.
This is years later.
This is 2.5, closer to 3 years later.
Yeah.
Now, but listen to what
that
the guy says.
That they finally get a suspect.
Yes, and this guy is asked why his opinion or his details of that changed, and he gives an answer. And I think that's probably a great place to stop.
In 32.
Pertaining to Millard Whited. Now, Millard Whited was a witness who gave some very damaging evidence at the trial with Sentry. And this is a quote from him, somebody who had interviewed him a few years later. Whited said that, quote, "I testified only to what they told me," referring to the state police. "They promised me $300, but only gave me $30.
The guy claims that the state police said, "We'll give you $300 if you change your testimony," and then they fucked him over and gave him $30.
So the amount of time and shit like that, the lack of anybody with any sort of law enforcement background being in charge, and in fact, you know, somebody who would be considered the chief suspect at this time. I mean, like he would be now anyway.
Yeah,
he thought it was unheard of. It could be him. He couldn't have done it. So, like, with all that taken into account, and with all the, especially with all the time that's passed, even the evidence with the gold certificates comes into fucking question, because they could have, like, very easily said to Albert Fish, "Hey, you're going back to Germany. You're going to give him this shit to hold on to. Here's the gold certificates. Leave him in the crate. He'll find them eventually. He'll spend them. When he does, we'll catch him."
Albert Fish was the serial killer.
Whatever the last name, but first name was.
Isidore Fish. Now, guess what? Also, and again, I do think this is a great place for us to stop. There was a witness to Isidore Fish giving Hauptmann the shoebox full of money. And he wanted to testify at Hauptmann's trial, but was threatened by the state police to not do it unless he also be charged as an accessory to the crime.
He also, Hauptmann had an alibi, but they wouldn't testify because they were afraid. He was supposed to like at some birthday party or something. So that's the Lindbergh kidnapping.
He picked up his wife from her job the night of the kidnapping. There was a witness because she worked at a bakery. There was another employee that witnessed him picking her up. And then he went to, he had a musical group that he would spend time with. And then, there's so
he's a groupie?
many. Yes, there's so many alibis that he had. And then there was a going away party for Isidore Fish before he went to Germany. Now, the thing was, I guess he didn't know that he had tuberculosis, but I didn't know this part of the story was that the time frame was that he was in Germany for 9 months when he died. So it wasn't like years. So there is evidence to say that he didn't even meet Isidore Fish until 1934, which was 2 years after the kidnapping. Right. It's circumstantial. We don't really know for sure.
They could have just brought him in, like, hey, this is your new friend. Hey, hello, how are you? You know, not brought him in, but they introduced him into his. It would be very easy to get that money there, and then the guy would have that same story. Like, this guy gave me this shit to hold on to,
and then he dies.
Checks out,
and then guess what? We find out they had done business together. And it turns out Isidore Fish was a con man who had conned Hauptmann out of $7,000. And that is what led Hauptmann to think he had rights to the money that he was holding, because he thought the guy fucked me over out of $7,000. There's this shoebox full of $15,000. I think I'm entitled to this. I'm rightfully entitled to this. Yeah. But it is more evidence to suggest that essentially Isidore Fish might have been the one who kidnapped the baby or attempted to kidnap the baby and got the ransom, and that Hauptmann had nothing to do with it. It's just but we know nothing. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, but we also, the other thing is, that and I have to go ahead and say this, that fucking Hauptmann was deported from. Well, he wasn't deported from Germany. He escaped to the United States. He had to escape. He had to escape custody to do that. Yep. He had previously been convicted, I believe, of using a ladder to get into the fucking mayor's house of the town he lived in.
And it was a petty theft. He only stole like a few things he could carry. And then while in custody, while in jail, he strips out of his clothes, finds a way to escape, and leaves a note for the jailers that says something along the lines of "Have a great day. I'll never see you again." Something like that.
Have a good day.
Guten day.
Doodly doo.
And then stows away on a steamship headed for America. But guess what? He had actually tried to do it once before, made it to America, but got caught and got sent back to Germany. This was his second attempt at doing it. He does do it. But it turns out, yes, you're absolutely right. He had a criminal history, and a lot of evidence does kind of suggest that this might have been his game. He knew how to be a thief. He knew how to rob.
Evidence could also suggest that Lindbergh said, "Find me a perfect fall guy. Find me a German.
Yes.
Find
exactly.
me Find me a German knows his way around ladders."
Yes, we know nothing. We know nothing. But there is evidence for every theory of how this went through.
To me,
everything.
Lindbergh being in charge of the investigation, even wanting to be in charge of the investigation, to me, it's pretty good indicator that he had something to do with it. And
Agreed.
it might have been an accidental death that he was trying to cover up. It may have been another one of his pranks gone wrong.
There is now, like I said, there's evidence to enforce every theory. I believe there is at least 51% stronger evidence to point to Charles Lindbergh. And I think that's where we'll leave it. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. I know that this is a dense topic. That's exactly why we picked it, because it is fucking interesting. It's so interesting. It is so layered. And this really happened. Well, I could say it happened. I could also say it didn't happen, because we don't know. We don't know. There's so much we do not know.
Some kid got killed. We do know that.
Yeah. Well, there's a theory that a kid didn't get killed.
What, it was suicide? He smashed himself in the soft palate with a rock. I have disappointed my father. Who knows?
That kid turned out to be Sloth from the Goonies. Break, fall.
I just keep imagining the kid as a Funko Pop, like the way they say his head is.
Yeah, I mean, this is so insane. But I believe in the 1960s, two people pop up claiming that they are the Lindbergh baby and that there, in fact, was no death. It gets weird, and it gets very into the other N-word that we can't say from Germany.
Hard eye.
Hard eye. It's weird, but two people claim that what was found was maybe not totally genuinely the Lindbergh child, because there were some organs removed from it, which people have always kind of assumed were animals getting at it. But what if I told you that when we go back to Lindbergh being a Nazi sympathizer, there are some people who believe that Lindbergh removed the organs because he was actually working on an experiment with a scientist to try to make artificial organs, which, believe it or not, Lindbergh is credited with helping create the technology for artificial organs. He really did do it. Credited, I should say. It's odd. It gets really, really weird. But that's where we're going to leave it for tonight.
Oh, it gets weird.
Yes, enjoy your nightmares, folks. This story is crazy. It gets so nuts. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for the generosity. We appreciate all of the help along the way with, I want to give some credit to some people who've helped us with some projects. Thank you. We got some stuff lined up once we get past this crazy fucking story.
We're past it, right?
Well, we got to talk about the trial.
Oh, fuck. Seriously?
Yeah. That's when it gets really nutty. I like this Jay Wolfenstein. Luigi, when are you going to try to do this story under a time crunch with stakes? I want to sabotage you again. I mean, root for you. Yeah, root for you. I'm totally on your side. Thank you, Jay Wolfenstein. All right, before we go, Pat, what would you like to plug, sir?
Oh, just my channel. If anybody wants to, check it out, it's P. Dixon here on YouTube. P. Dixon.
Believe it or not, he's going to be talking about the Lindbergh kidnapping for the next 7 hours on his channel. Yes. And then the Amityville Horror. Gummi, what would you like to plug?
I would like to plug on. Well, first of all, Wednesday we did a show. If you guys didn't see it, where I had Luigi watch the most insufferable person deal with the cops for about an hour. And it was amazing.
It was 2 hours. It was 2 hours.
Yeah, the video was an hour. And it was amazing watching him and Bacon getting fucking just angry. Because I was pissed when I first watched it. But watching these two get mad gave me joy. It was much more fun as my voice cracks.
The most infuriating video.
Yeah. Also, got my show, another horror game on Sunday. Tomorrow, dropping another bonus episode where I play Dead as Disco to late 90s, early 2000s new metal. So it's fun revisiting some old music. And I shelved movies and shit to open my new business, Suds and Shit, my laundromat. So yeah, that's on Wednesdays is my simulation game. So yeah, please watch.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, please check out, that was episode 2 of Supplemental Robot that we played on Wednesday. And episode 3 is going to be premiering on Patreon July 22nd. And that is a great one where Pat sat with us to evaluate very bad comedians from the 1970s. One more lever, please. I'm not on dog duty tonight. Oh, she's doing great, by the way. I'm so
happy to hear that, man.
Thank you so much. And we will play one last lever and then say goodbye for the evening. Thank you, everyone. Let me get this primed. Have a great night, everybody.
Night, people.
I'm not a very gassy dude. I burp more than I fart.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.